Hey, everybody, welcome back to the podcast. You're listening to the longest running superhero role playing game on Earth. I'm your host, the Game Master, and today we're talking about the Shadow, as well as a famous enemy of his named Shiwan Khan, who in the Golden Age was the last living descendant of Genghis Khan. But before we get into that, smash like, make sure you're subscribed, and leave us a comment. That helps us out with the YouTube algorithm, but also we love hearing from you guys. We have an awesome community here, and that's thanks to you. So thank you so much for being here. So, with all that said, let's dive in. The prologue to today's story takes place about a decade ago in New York City when Shiwan Khan was finally released from prison after serving a 75-year sentence. He's an old man now, but he was able to retain great riches while he was away. Riches that he used to bribe people and put a gang together again. And their first task is to track down the granddaughter of Shiwan Khan, a beautiful girl named Batu Khan. When we first meet her, Batu is little more than a street rat. She takes a diamond necklace to a jewelry store and asks to return it. The jeweler asks for a receipt, so she hands him one. Since everything seems to be in order, he gives her money from the cash register and she walks away. But once she's gone, both the necklace and the receipt vanish. Or to be more precise, they never existed. Batu has the ability to cloud men's minds. The men who work for Shiwan Khan find her and ask her to come with them. She asks why she should, and they tell the orphan girl that they have the one thing she can't find anywhere else: family. So they take her to see her grandfather. He teaches her how to use her powers better, and together they start to assume control of the various Asian mobs in New York City. So they go to one such godfather figure and ask him what he values most in life. He replies that his son matters most to him. So they command him to strangle his adult son, and he does, with tears in his eyes. Soon the Khan family is feared and respected, and coming to power, acquiring even more wealth. Batu asks her grandfather what he needs the money for. Shiwan Khan explains that while he was in prison, he was with other supervillains. And during his time there, he learned many things. He now knows how to build a machine that he thinks will give him his youth back and restore everything that the Shadow took from him. Which brings us to the main plot. It's 10 years later, and we see Shiwan Khan, who is young again and in his prime. He and his granddaughter are in Mongolia now, and they visit a government building. An attractive woman behind the desks asks if they have an appointment, and they say they do. The woman looks at a blank spot on a list, but she thinks she sees their names. So she tells her boss that his guests are here to see him. They're let in, and they do this to him as well, telling him to introduce them to his superiors. They work their way up the ladder until she meets the Minister of Defense and orders him to take out the Prime Minister, which he does. Then people take him out in return. The Khans tell the president of Mongolia to go on TV and confess to crimes he didn't even commit. He resigns and chaos erupts. The next day, Batu is invisible. She walks through the streets, whispering in people's ears, and riots break out. Mongolia is coming apart at the seams. Then she whispers in the ear of another weak willed politician, and Shiwan Khan is declared to be the new supreme leader of Mongolia. With all the recent attempts on the lives of politicians, Shiwan Khan avoids public appearances. Despite that fact, he is still able to restore stability to the region and make global news. Back in New York City, we now see Lamont Cranston II in his historic mansion watching the news. When he learns that Shiwan Khan has set himself up as some sort of dictator, he realizes right away that Khan learned nothing from prison, and he's gone right back to trying to carry on the work of Genghis Khan. Shiwan Khan has conquered Mongolia first, establishing it as the heart of his new empire. The news continues, saying he will make a rare public appearance soon, so Cranston buys a plane ticket. Soon enough, the shadow is in Mongolia. A crowd gathers, and Shiwan Khan walks out. Journalists ask him questions as the shadow picks a good spot. Once Cranston is close enough, he draws both guns. Shots ring out, people scream, the crowd panics, and Shiwan Khan falls, only to get back up again. Shiwan Khan addresses the masses. I am no longer bound by the constraints of human limitations, he continues, his eyes glossy with unearthly confidence. I am immortal. My time in prison has allowed me to unlock the secret of eternal life. I shall lead this empire and restore Mongolia to greatness for as long as I desire. For I cannot die. I cannot be defeated. You are all witnessing the birth of a new era. Crowd cheers, and the military pours in, looking for the shadow who is invisible but still needs to occupy three-dimensional space. And things here are getting shoulder to shoulder with people bumping into the invisible assailant. So, to his dismay, Cranston is actually arrested and thrown into a Mongolian prison. Shiwan Khan comes to visit him in Princeton. Lamont Cranston II, or should I say, the Shadow. Shiwan Khan sneers. How delightful. The mighty fall. Your family was once a thorn in my side, fly in the ointment. But now, he steps closer, his voice low and conspiratorial. Now the tables have turned, and you see how easily your world crumbles. Cranston looks up, his eyes hard with defiance. You think you've won? This is only the beginning. Your people will never accept you as ruler, not like this, not with your lies. Shiwan Khan chuckles softly, circling Cranston's cell like a predator. Lies? No. What you fail to understand is that truth no longer matters. Power does. And now I hold all of it. He leans closer, his face inches from Cranston's. You are nothing but a footnote now in the story of my rise. Your time is over. The Mongolian people have embraced me, believe in me, and soon the entire world will too. I am immortal, and I will make sure you never see the light of day again. Cranston's gaze never wavers. You're deluded, Khan. You can't keep this up forever. Shiwan Khan laughs. Oh, but I can. And with that, the Shadow's old enemy leaves. And that brings us to our epilogue, which takes place later that day. Door to the cell creaks open, and a soft, almost melodic voice breaks the silence. Your meal, Mr. Cranston. Batu Khan enters the cell with a tray in hand. Her beauty is undeniable, but there's something more. She places the tray down in front of Cranston, her movements smooth. Cranston doesn't look at the food, but instead locks eyes with her. He focuses, the words forming in his mind. You will release me, he whispers, projecting his will towards her, but nothing happens. She doesn't even flinch. Batu watches him, a faint, knowing smile curling at the corner of her lips. Nice try, but your powers don't work on me. Cranston's eyes narrow in confusion. Why? Because, she says, her voice quiet but filled with a strange authority. I am the granddaughter of Shiwan Khan. Cranston's breath catches in his throat, but he quickly masks it with a chuckle. You're telling me that you're immune to my powers? Her eyes meet his, and for a brief moment, there's a connection between them, something that contradicts her ruthless legacy. It's not just that. You see, the Khan blood runs strong, and it's not just about power, it's about destiny, she says. My bloodline cannot be controlled. Cranston leans back slightly, processing her words. He sighs, shifting his approach. The usual tactics aren't going to work. He glances at her again, no longer just as the granddaughter of a notorious criminal, but as a beautiful, powerful woman who may very well decide his fate. You don't have to do this, Cranston says, his tone softer now, laced with a subtle charm. You're capable of so much more than just following in his footsteps. The world doesn't need another dictator. You don't have to be like him. Batu tilts her head slightly, regarding him with mild curiosity. And what do you suggest I do instead? Cranston leans forward, his voice low, persuasive. You could be the one to change it all. The Khan bloodline. It doesn't have to be about power and fear. You're smarter than this. You could lead Mongolia into a new age, one of prosperity, not just dominion. You could be loved, not feared. The world could be yours. Batu's expression remains neutral, but her eyes flicker briefly. Cranston can see the hesitation there, even if she tries to hide it. But she quickly recovers, and a small smile plays at the edges of her lips. You're trying to manipulate me. I'm offering you a choice, Batu, he replies, unflinching. You don't need to do this the way your grandfather did. Power isn't everything. Sometimes you need something more, something that lasts. She looks at him, her gaze unreadable, before softly shaking her head. You are wasting your breath. You may be the shadow, but you are not in control here. I am, and I've already made my decision. She steps back, picking up the tray she had set down earlier. Enjoy your meal. Cranston watches as she turns to leave, the door clicking shut behind her. His mind races, still calculating. But one thing is clear. Batu Khan is far beyond what he had imagined, and the Khan legacy, both the curse and the power that comes with it, is a force that the shadow might not be able to stop. And that was it for this one. We had fun playing it. We hope that you had fun hearing about it. If so, as always, smash like, make sure you're subscribed, and leave us a comment. And from all of us here at the longest running superhero role playing game on earth, we hope you have a good one, and we'll see you in the next adventure. Bye.